This is Richard back at you guys. Well, it's been 2 weeks and about 4 days, I believe, since
3 weeks tomorrow.
Oh, 3 weeks tomorrow, so I'm a little off myself still. But the first week went pretty good. Got off the medication really quick. I think the surgery was on a Tuesday. By Friday, Saturday, I was off all the pain medication and stuff like that. After that, it pretty much went downhill.
Well, that's because that following week on Wednesday, they wanted you to take pain meds before you come in because they were going to make you go, whoop.
Yeah, they thought they were going to move my arms and stuff. So, but anyway, the second week, I pretty much went downhill. I was sick all week. That Saturday, I almost called an ambulance to come and get me because I was just literally done. I was so sick. But after that, things started working a little bit better. Started coming out of the coma trance I had, or what do you want to call it. I mean, it was terrible. If y'all never had a shoulder reversal replacement, you know, the surgery's not bad.
It's the medication.
It's the medication that you just got to get off of it as soon as you can. That way you can get back to normal. But anyway, we got Miss Teresa here. We got the bomb. Yeah, the bomb's here. We got Miss Teresa. She's going to be flexing her guns today. Going to be flexing them. Now, Teresa has built transmissions before when we lived in town in our younger days. I had a stomach surgery done on the mesh that I have in my stomach, and she actually had to build some 350s, some 400s and stuff because I couldn't get my hands in the chemicals. And plus that surgery there, I was down for like 6 months. It was terrible surgery. But anyway, we have our daughter's 400 tranny in the house that we're going to be tearing down. We need to get the parts ordered for and get some things coming for it. We've already got an 8-bolt case sitting over. We can cut the bell housing off, but I want to see if this 400 has already got a busted case, if we have an 8-bolt pump case behind the pump that's only showing 6 bolts. So what I'm going to do is we're going to swap cameras. I'm going to do the camera work, and I'm going to film Miss Teresa tearing down this 400, and I'll kind of explain a little bit as we go on. But we're looking to see if it's an 8-bolt case behind the 6-bolt pump. And we're going to be looking to see what type of valve body they have here because this tranny that they purchased is supposed to be a fully manual transmission. Now you can see the case has already been ripped off of it, but we only have 6 bolts holding the pump in. If we machine this case off and put an ultra bell on here, we definitely want to bolt it with all 8 bolts. Okay, so but anyway, we're going to swap real quick. And Miss Teresa is going to flex her guns, guys. And
okay, hang on just a second. I have to get this. Sorry, guys. I want to get this
camera adjusted just perfect
right,
for it to do it.
Because he can't do it. Okay, here you go.
So I'm going to grab the camera. And you know, guys, I'm probably not going to be very good at this. Okay, I got it. There we go.
Is that how you want to hold it?
Yep, I think so. Hopefully I don't shake like crazy. Uh-oh. I'll hold it with 2 hands. There you go. So, Miss Teresa,
I cannot believe I'm doing this.
Yeah, you can hang. You can do it.
I can't.
You've done it before. Now, this will be the first one she's done in probably 20 years. She's watched, done all these videos.
Not longer.
So, I know she knows what she's doing. So, we're going to be pulling the tail housing off of it first. We will be staying with a shorty transmission, going in I believe it's about a 2000 TransAm. It's going to be a nitrous powered car.
Oh. Come on. I'll just come back.
Just go back to it. No biggie.
I'm not going to be as quick.
That's okay. We're no hurry. Just want to see what you got going on here. Okay. Like I said, we mainly want this for parts. But if we get lucky and we can have an 8-bolt configuration.
Because
there you go. Turn it just like that. There you go. It'll go. Nope. Get it on there straight. There you go. There you go.
Okay, there I go.
Turn it around.
Turn it.
Kind of get in there.
Oh, come on.
No. Okay. Pull that off. Put your extension on there. And let's see if we can get it that way. I don't have a big battery on the impact for a lot of torque. A little bit smaller battery, so she didn't have to There you go.
There I go.
Now the fluid in this tranny is bright red, so we're excited for that. Maybe the tranny internals are really nice. Bushing looks really good in there, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell it looks like original bushing, possibly.
Yeah.
But we'll be replacing all the bushings in this unit, setting it up with a roller bearing rear bushing style in the case. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip this over and let Miss Teresa
Oh my God.
show me her guns real quick.
This was not easy.
Pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's pretty
Slide
heavy.
it all the way to you, and then just try to tumble it. There you go. Piece of cake.
Oh, that was really full of fluid.
Boy, that's got a lot of fluid in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But the fluid looks really nice. Gonna run down the old chain right there. Yep, coming out pretty quick, so it's missing the chain. But once it starts trickling, it doesn't sit there and just bounce off the fluid and make a lot of noise in that barrel there. Now what's lucky, we got a nice deep aluminum pan.
So do I use the same thing?
Nope, you're gonna go to a 12, or excuse me, a 1/2 inch, the chrome socket. Leave the extension on there though.
This one?
Yes, ma'am. Like I say, they purchased this tranny really not knowing a whole lot about it, but the fluid being pretty red, hopefully it's in good shape.
Where do you want me to put all these bolts in that?
Just lay them over there to the right on your towel if you want to, on your rack.
Okay. I guess
We just want to get a head start on this one here. It's been sitting here for several weeks, and if we can get the parts in the door, we can come out here when I get a little bit better shape, or Teresa can come out here and we can start getting the bell housing machined off. Do it that way. That way we're not waiting on anything. Everything just keeps going up in price. You know, I used to buy an Ultra Bell for like 350, 60 bucks. Now they're over 500. So everything is just skyrocketing. Now this tranny does not have a trans brake on it, which they don't want one. They just want it fully manual. They are going to do some street driving with it. And we will probably put the modulator on it because the modulator has been removed since they're going to be driving it on the street. We don't want the line pressure to be maxed out all the time where they're, you know, setting at red lights and stuff like that. We want some type of control over line pressure. So the only way you can do that is with a modulator. I had a gentleman ask me, could I put a mechanical modulator on there that runs off of a cable that goes to the gas pedal. They actually do make those for diesels. They work really nice. You could actually configure it into a gasoline application. You had to smack it with a... Now you have to hit it pretty hard, Teresa.
Are you sure?
Okay. Take that screwdriver over there and try to wedge it in there and tap it in with your hammer if you need to a little bit.
Does it matter where?
No, it doesn't matter where. Yeah, right there at the gasket part. Trying to get a little wedge in there. There it goes. Yeah. Kind of curious to see what we got here. We got a little bit of stuff in the pan. No chunks or anything at all. Magnet's got very little on it too. Looks like, like I said, this thing's been raced, I'm assuming, for a while, and I'm not sure how the bell housing got broke off. Could have been a bad U-joint, you know, anything like that. Turbo cars bumping in and stuff like to rip the bell housings off of 400s. Actually, I tried to do that with my car one time, and one weekend, actually Friday night, I broke the bell housing, had to hunt down an Ultra Bell Saturday to go finish the racing. And that was back when, maybe a 1/2 inch, it's already on there, Teresa.
Oh, it is? Okay, sorry.
Yes. So we do have a deep pan. We'll flip the filter over and see if it's a screen style, which it's not a screen style, it's a material style. So we'll definitely get rid of that filter and get a screen style filter in there. The screen style filters don't collect as much trash. They do let small particles go by. That's why we like to put a couple magnets in the pan to try to catch small particles. But these filters here, they will stop up and start restricting. So you can pull your tube out for your filter. Want to?
Does it pull out?
Just pull straight out.
Okay.
Now these tubes are a little longer than the shallow pan. If you put a shallow pan one in there, the pan will be about 2 inches off the bottom, so you don't want that. You want it to be all the way on the bottom of the pan. So you're going to take all your 1/2-inch bolts out next, what you got on there.
This?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and take all of them out. That's your detent spring there. That gives you your park, reverse, neutral drive, you know, your clicking that you feel in the dash. It does look like it has an aftermarket valve body plate on it. Now, this is a fully manual system. It does not have a vacuum. No, it's 7/16 there, 7/16 there, no, that's a half there. I'm sorry. There you go.
Well, if it would have worked, it'd come off. Okay, right here?
Yep. Next one up too. And then the next 3 are going to be your 7/16 black socket. Now we still are running the governor tubes, it looks like. A lot of times they plug the valve body in the back, and one more there to your left, Teresa. To your left, there you go, right there by your finger. Kind of hides in there, that shiny. These lights kind of make it, the valve body's shiny, and it's kind of hard to see it.
It actually looks just like everything else.
Okay, kind of pull it up, just pull the valve body up and kind of bend the tubes. Kind of pull it up. Go ahead, grab the front of the valve body. Pick it up. Now here, grab this part right here, and
can I use the screwdriver?
you can.
That one.
Okay, let me show you here, Teresa. Like I
Okay.
said, grab this, bend it. Bend the tubes. Pull, pull. There you go. Now pull it out of there real easy. There you go.
Okay. Uh-oh.
There you go. Now you can flip this valve body over and we kind of look at it a little bit and see what we got going on this side and see what they've done. Now they do, when you get an overhaul kit, your overhaul kit will only come with 3 valve body gaskets, okay? 2, you have to look and make sure that they are the right ones, and then 1 was goes under the valve body plate. They only give you 1 of those. But the ones that go on the top are identified by these 2 holes right here. Okay? So you want to look at these 2 holes, match your gaskets up so you don't get them wrong. But the overhaul kit only comes with 3 gaskets. 1 you always use on every unit, and then the other 2 you have to look at. Now if you noticed here, the accumulator, the accumulator they did block. They took the spring out, flipped the piston over, and put a keeper on there. That way that piston doesn't move at all. Okay, you got to be careful doing that sometimes because you can have issues with this one here. Okay, now also you want to flip that valve body over, Teresa. Anytime we do a fully manual valve body, this hole right here has to be plugged. And the 1-2 shift valve, you pull it out and you grind a land off down in here. Okay, your shift kit instructions will show you which land you grind off and then how you plug the hole on the other side of the valve body. Okay, now if you look at the valve body plate, slide that over, Teresa.
Can I put this in here? Or
Yes,
no?
ma'am. You can put it right there.
Yes?
Yeah. Okay. Manual valves all the same. Don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
We get over here and look at the valve body plate. You can definitely tell it's an aftermarket style. The check ball holes, you can see this one here, this check ball hole here. You can see how the holes, feed holes right here are enlarged here. If you want to go and take this off, that's going to be 7/16 is what you already got on there. Now that's your passing gear solenoid. On a fully manual application, I'm not sure if your passing gear solenoid would override. I've never really hooked it up when we did that. You can just grab that with your finger, just pull that wire off real easy.
I can?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
There
I
you
can.
go.
Okay.
Yep. Now there is a gasket under there. You can see the little gasket that slid down right there, the chrome one.
Yeah, the chrome.
That will come in your overhaul kit. You don't want to leave it off. They make 2 different styles of this solenoid too, so you just want to watch what you're doing there. Now you can pull the valve body plate off, Teresa. Now just pull your valve body plate off. There you go. Now, if you notice here, they only put 2 check balls back in this tranny. They only put your reverse and forward check ball that keeps them from coming on both at the same time, and they added this check ball here. So if you flip your valve body plate back over, this check balls that they've left out, you can see them all right here. Okay. Now, when you do that, I mean, you add so much fluid to the circuit, you're going to have really firm shifts. When you do that, you could probably leave the check balls in on that because of the holes are so big already on this other side of the check ball that's going to let fluid go too. So that's kind of overkill. So you want to set that down, Teresa?
Okay.
Now, if you notice the vacuum modulator, you want to roll it over just a little bit, Teresa? Just a little bit. There you go. No, the other way, this way.
Oh, roll it this way?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
You can see here that the vacuum modulator has been plugged. And what we would do, we would put a vacuum modulator back in here, hook vacuum back to it. That way our line pressure is controlled at red lights and full throttle. You know, at idle and at red light, this thing should have 40, 50, 60 pounds at idle. And then when you put it on the floor, it should go to whatever your pressure regulator spring will produce. So but when, yeah, you can just put them back in the pan. So, but we like to have full control over our pressure, especially when they're street driving them. That way we don't wear the pumps out. I got a really good pump video out there you guys need to watch. So you can flip that back to you. Now you can also see here where they plug this circuit right here with a little tiny freeze plug. Okay. Anytime they leave the seal out of the direct drum, they come in here and they block that port off right there. So you can go ahead and pull this out here, Teresa.
Does it just come out?
Yeah, it just wobbles and pulls out.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Got a metal sealing ring on it, which is nice. Yeah, you can set that over in your pan. Okay, now we're going to come in here and we're going to take the reverse servo cover off here. It's going to be your 1/2-inch chrome socket on the end. We have our famous nail that we always bend before we pull the pump out of it.
Is that it?
Yep, that's it. Like I said, I can't get in here and do anything right now. My shoulder is still pretty out of whack. Right now, they just want me to do my therapy is getting my arm to move left, right, up, down, stuff like that. They do not want me to do any type of strength training. So you can take a hammer, Teresa, and grab that and kind of tap on it and pull that servo out. Kind of pull up on it at the same time, tap it from the side. There you go, pull it out. Okay. Now you notice they did leave, pull your center piston out. They did leave all the rings off the center one, or they left them on. Anytime you do a trans brake application, you will be leaving these 2 rings off here. But since this is just a fully manual, the rings will be left on.
Oh, that didn't go that way.
No, you just set it over there.
Okay.
So what we got now, Teresa, is we can come in here, get your chrome 3/8 over there, your 12 point all the way to the right.
Sorry, my hands are slickery.
Okay, you're going to stick it down in this. Don't put it on there yet. You're going to stick it down that hole first. Okay, you're going to make sure it's all lined up good. Now you're going to take a hammer and tap it all the way down in there. Okay, that means it's all the way to the bottom. It's grabbing the bolt all that it can. So now you're going to take that bolt out. There you go. See if it'll take it out. Full trick, full power. There you go. Okay, we got that out. Now, anytime we mess with that hole right there, we put the bolt back in and torque it. We always want to come in here and flat file this right here because you will lift the edge up right here just a little bit. So you always want to flat file this. A lot of the valve bodies, the TransAm billet valve bodies, the aluminum ones and stuff, they do not have no gaskets. So you definitely want to make sure everything's flat. Okay. Well, Miss Teresa, you want to come up, grab a screwdriver, and we want to go ahead and bend our nail. Just kind of bend the tail just a little bit up.
Of this.
Bend it. There you go. That's plenty right there. That way, when we take the pump out or put it in the parts washer, this nail does not fall out and let your shifter shaft move back and forth. Okay. Now you notice down inside that hole there, there's 2 O-rings. Can you pull both those O-rings out of there with your finger?
I don't know. Your fingers are long. Oh, there's one.
There's one. Now anytime we put that tube back in there, the factory will only have 1 O-ring on it, but we like to install 2. You can always put the original one that come out of the tranny back on there with a new one that's in your kit.
Well,
Like I said, guys, this is Teresa's first one to tear down in 20 years. So, but she does.
last time I did it was for my race car.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. You got your 2 O-rings. So you always want a dual O-ring net. That way it doesn't suck any air up inside that tube, because that tube right up in there is above fluid level. Okay. So now we're going to take and turn the tranny just around just a little bit, Miss Teresa. And now we're going to pull the pump bolts out.
Same.
Now you're going to use your short chrome.
Do I
Now,
need the
if you notice,
extension?
this is just a 6-bolt pump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we're hoping the case has a bolt here and a bolt here. A bolt here and a bolt here. That way we don't have to cut the bell housing in this case. This is my first time to be a cameraman, so hopefully I don't mess it up too bad. We're hoping we come up with a good pump still, even though the bell housing was broke off. Hopefully the pump isn't destroyed. A lot of times when the bell housing breaks, they sit there and idle the car all the way back to the pits, and the converter's wobbling, the bushing's in a bind, everything's in a bind. So Miss Teresa, if you're going to turn that just a little bit to the right, the whole tranny case. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. Well, here, do it this way. No, leave it in the pocket.
Okay.
Okay, just like that. Now you want to take a screwdriver and get back in there and pop that pump out. Just kind of get it wedged in there. There you go. There you go. Almost there. Let me grab her a bigger screwdriver. Here you go. Get this one in here about like that and push it back. There you go. You get that pump out of there that way. Now what we're going to pull the pump out here, see what we got going on. Well guys, this is why I tell you, never throw a case away until you take the pump out. Because if you look at this, it only had 6 bolts holding that pump in, but we got a beautiful 8-bolt case here. We've got a bolt here, 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 and here, and here. Look at that. But if you looked at the pump, this one was missing and this one was missing here. So it disguised a very good case just because the pump wasn't drilled out for it. Now to make this pump a 8-bolt, if you notice here, these bolt holes go through all the way through. If you look at this one, it stops. It stops.
Yeah.
If you come over and look at this one, it stops. So all you got to do is back drill right through the stator here, and add them 2 bolt holes all the way through the pump body. So all your pump stators are 8-bolt, every one of them. But your pump body is where they start jacking you around to where they're only showing 6 bolts. But if you pop a hole out the back here and out the back here, now you can mount your ultra bell to this case right here. So, well, Teresa, let's take this pump apart. Your 1/2-inch chrome that you already have on there. Now we do have metal sealing rings on here, which we would have never done that. These rings will not handle high pressure, so you never want to do that. You always want to order a high pressure ring kit from TransAm. And what we're going to do, we're just going to leave the pump body down, pull the stator out. And we're going to slide this over to here real quick. Now, flip that back over, Teresa. I'm going to show them something. This spring right here is your pressure regulator spring. This just controls how much pressure you have when the modulator is unplugged or your vacuum's dropped or you do a delete on the modulator. This spring right here is what's going to make the pressure inside the tranny. This spring right here is a factory looking spring. It's not a shift kit spring. It's not a fully manual spring. This spring would definitely be thrown away. But let's look at your pump.
Okay.
Now, this is not the best pump to use for a high pressure application. Let me grab one over here. I talked about a good pump and a bad pump on a 400. If you notice here, you got two different pump bodies here. One of them, GM come in here and put a notch in the back here to add more oil to the back of the gear right here. If you look at this one here, there's nothing there. So Miss Tracy, you want to pull the pump gears out of this first one here? Okay. That pump gear looks really nice, so definitely want to look and you can see the bluing where it's worn just a little bit. Now we'll still put new pump gears in this. We'll mic them because they do make different thicknesses of these gears. Your standard pump gear in a 400 is what we call a 721. So 722 thousandths thick. But you want to look here on the back. See how the bluing's starting to disappear on the gear? So you definitely want to put a new pump gear in here. But if you come in this side of it, go ahead and pull that gear out there too, Teresa.
That looks bigger. Feels thicker.
Yeah, thicker. Okay. Now turn it just a little bit so we can see that part that GM put in there to give more lube on the back of the gear. You can see this right here. These gears at high pressure will run dry on the back side right here. And it causes this hole to be oblong. So what GM did, they put this little notch right into the pressure regulator circuit to add more oil on the back of this gear right here. If you look at this one here, it does not have that. So to me, if I was going to use this pump, I would be using this pump into this tranny or pump body. Okay. This one here, you could get in here with a whiz wheel or something and put that in there, clean it up really good and add that circuit in there if you wanted to. And it would definitely be a good upgrade to the pump body. So we got lucky and got us an 8-bolt case that looked like a 6-bolt from the outside just because of the pump was not drilled for 8 bolts. And I don't know why GM did that. Don't really make no sense. But Tracy, you want to pull out your forward drum? So we're going to be pulling the clutches and stuff out of this. We're going to be actually upgrading this drum to a billet shaft in the front. And anytime you run a nitrous car, here, grab your smaller screwdriver, your little black one over there, Teresa, make it a lot easier for you. Yes, ma'am.
You told me to use that one when we first started.
Yeah. So we'll be replacing that drum completely, going with a billet input shaft. I want to specify, I say billet a lot, and I had a customer or a YouTuber wanted me to explain billet over all this, the different things that they have, okay? You know, we have 4340, we have Vasco, we have 300M. I could call this shaft multiple things. This is just a standard steel shaft. But I could order a 4340 shaft, I could order a Vasco shaft, I could order a 300M shaft. Now, on this drum here, we're not going to get really extreme on the shafts. We'll do probably a 4340. What they do on these, they'll come in here and drill this out, bore this out, and they'll put a shaft with a lot more splines through here instead of this small shaft. The shaft will be sticking through here will be twice as big. It'll be almost out to the edge. Okay, that's on. They'll use the same steel drum, but they re-pull the splines through the drum and put more splines in there where it's got a lot more gripping. But we'll update that drum there for sure. You want to throw that to the side, Teresa?
Your side or my side?
There you go. Of course, we have our forward clutches. Do we have a wave in there, Teresa? don't see no wave, so somebody did take the wave out, which is good. You know, if you're building one for your family driver, something like that, your grandma car, you definitely want to leave the wave in. But since we're going to have a high stall converter, 3,000 stall, 4,000 stall, we're going to be removing all the waves out of this unit. We don't care how the engagement is because the converter is going to soak up the hit when you put it into gear. Now we will also be replacing the forward clutch hub. That's probably just a pot metal one, Teresa. You want to tap it and see what it sounds like? Yeah, see how it has that thud thud?
It's just thud.
The better ones, I could say billet, 4340, whatever you want to call it, will have a ting to them when you hit it, okay? I don't know what they make the better ones out of. I just know they're better, okay?
Okay.
Now we're going to pull our third gear drum out. If you want, you can kind of hook your fingers under that, Teresa. Not right up, a little farther up. Farther up. Right here.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Grab that and just pull that out of there. There you go. If you want to flip that over real quick, Teresa, and when we turn our intermediate roller clutch assembly, if this squeaks, the other way,
Oh.
okay. Ooh, we might get lucky. We don't hear a squeak. If we have a roller clutch in there, you will hear a squeak, squeak, squeak. But if we have a 36 element sprag assembly, you will hear nothing. So grab your green screwdriver over there, Teresa. Now this, oops, let me see. You can take and hold the drum, slide that snap ring over to there. Kind of turn it, just kind of push it. It'll go real easy. Okay, stop. Now reach in there and grab it and flip it out of there. There you go. Now we're going to hope this drum is a 36 element style drum, 4L80E. Nope, grab the top piece off, pull that little tab.
This?
Nope, that right there, you can just pull that off.
Oh, I see
Nope,
what you're saying.
there you go.
Oh,
Take your little green.
screwdrivers.
Yes, ma'am.
There you go.
All right, look what we got, guys. We just saved ourselves $400 and something from having that 36 element style drum. So normally we would have a roller clutch assembly in there, a little cheap one. But this drum has already been updated to the 36 element, which saves us a ton of money. So you want to pull that out of there, Teresa? You can. There you go. Now it does not have a hardened race. The outer race just looks factory steel style. So we definitely want to upgrade that. Those are bad about cracking. But we want to take this drum here, Teresa, and kind of put it on its side. And we want to look at this area right here and just see how good that drum looks. Whoa. That looks beautiful, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. No dents where the sprag's been locking or anything like that. Looks really nice. Yeah. So I think we can Scotch-Brite that up. We can Scotch-Brite the internals where the sealing rings run. Looks really good in there. Mm-hmm. So we saved us a big chunk of money right there. We saved us from having to get a good 400 case and cut the bell housing off just by removing the pump. So we're looking really good right there. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull the backing plate out of this direct drum right here. Now this is what we call actually a high reverse drum. It comes on in third gear and it also comes on in reverse to back up. We're going to look at this here and see what it looks like, what they've done to us. Now this tranny here, you notice it's got some red clutches and stuff in there. We would never put those back in there. Flip it over and that will fall out. There you go. Gloves make it really slippery, huh?
Yeah.
They really do. There you go. So we're going to look and see what we got here. Looks like we got a 5 clutch pack here. We got some type of red clutch in it, not sure. They are a waffle style. You can see the grooves in the clutch. Now we'll be going back with a high green metallic clutch that comes in the school buses and the Allisons. We'll put that in the high clutch and we'll also put it in the forward clutch over there. We would never go back with a paper style clutch. So if you want to move that to the side, Teresa. No wave in that drum at all. If you put a wave in that drum, the only reason why GM put a wave in that drum is to soften reverse. They didn't care about third gear, but they cared about reverse because that clutch and the band comes on for reverse. So That's why GM put that in there. If you want to get our engine braking band out of there, Teresa, you can just grab that with your hand using, just pull that out of there. It's going to be locked in towards the left-hand corner of it, the bottom of it right there. It has a little pin. There you go. Band looks really nice. The band's only used for engine braking, so it helps support the sprag too on your shifts. Now we're going to reach down in there with our screwdriver, and we're going to pull that snap ring out of there. We're going to find the tip of the snap ring.
I think it's down here.
You see it in there?
Which one? This one?
No, that's
the blue one?
Yeah, there you go. Now, if you notice, the snap ring, the opening of the snap ring is not in this area right here. You never want to put your open part of your snap ring in there.
Is it right there?
Can you see it up there? She don't have her glasses on, so it's kind of tough for her to see too.
Oh, I see it.
There it is.
It's not either. I just couldn't see it.
Turn it, then you can just grab it with your hand and pull it out of there. There you go. Use your hook.
Yeah, I know.
Need to patent that screwdriver. There you go.
Okay.
Now you can pull your intermediate clutches out. See what they did to us here. Now they only have a 3 clutch, which we would never do that. We would always go back with a 4 clutch. And they did take the wave out of the bottom down there. If you notice the very last steel, the ply steel, it's not a wave. Normally you'd have a wave right there, clutch steel, all the way to the backing plate. Being that it's a race car, you'd be removing that wave. But let me tell you, when you remove that wave, you better have a 36 element sprag in this drum right here. Because if you don't, sorry, camera wasn't working good for it. If you don't get rid of that roller clutch, there you go. There you go. If you don't get rid of that roller clutch, when you take that wave out right here, you're going to explode that roller clutch. That's why you always go to a 36 element when you take the wave out right here. But what we'll be doing, we'll be going back with the 4L80E thin clutches and the 4L80E thin steels, and then we'll be stacking it back that way. That way we can get that extra clutch in there. So slide that to the side, Miss Teresa.
Okay.
Of course, you're going to go now for your bevel snap ring, Teresa. If you notice, the opening of the snap ring is in the opened area there. I don't like to put them there because the tips of the snap rings can break off. So we're going to try to get that out of there. That's going to be a tough snap ring for her, but I think she can get it. Yeah, grab it right there. There you go. Pull. There you go. She'll get that one out of there. That's a tough one. If you've never done it, you just kind of got to walk it out. Now she's pulling the bevel snap ring out right now. When you install this snap ring back in, you definitely want to put the flat side down. The bevel goes towards the top. Always keep the tips of the snap ring out of the opened area of the case right there. Always put the tip inside around the lugs. There you go. The hard snap ring. Beveled on this side, flat on this side. Okay, we're going to pull out our center support. Excuse me. If you notice, they still have all the sealing rings on the stator. Anytime you do a manual, we always leave this sealing ring off right here, and then we'll leave the center seal out of the drum. Helps apply the high gear clutch. It uses the full piston. You can kind of drop that down on there a little bit, Teresa. There you go. See if you can pull that out of there now. Still pretty tight.
Oh, yeah.
Get it. Okay, tap it the other way, flip it over. Now see if you can pull it out of there. Twist it at the exact same time. There you go.
Hit myself in the face.
They make different variations of this shaft right here. So you're just going to watch your sun gear that's in the bottom of your lower planet to match it up. Now we have a little bearing race there. You want to pull off? Wait, yes, ma'am. Let's go ahead and flip that over. Let's Let's look at the, see if they did anything to the circuit here. Nope, it's still there. Okay. Sometimes they come in here and tap this and plug that hole too.
Okay.
Slide that out of the way. Let's go ahead and grab the shaft and let's just pull, or let's grab that other snap ring in the case. You see that little thin snap ring down there in the case to the right, Teresa? You can just grab that with your fingers and pull it out.
Yeah.
What they do is they make two different thicknesses of this support right here. So if you got a thick support, no snap ring. If you got a thin support, you put a snap ring under here. Okay? So you do not want to put a thin one in there with no snap ring. So now you can just grab that shaft, Teresa, and pull it all the way out. If you want to, Teresa, you can go ahead and reach down in there and pull your reverse band out. Grab it at the top here. There you go. Grab it right there. Pull that out of there. Let's see what we got, what that looks like. Definitely got an aftermarket band. I like to use the factory bands. If I can find a factory band that's in good shape, I'll definitely use it. If you notice these bands here, they will start wearing on the tips right here. And once they start wearing, this band will start rubbing on this reverse drum right here. Okay, so I always like to use the original band if I can find it for my daughter. If I have cores out there, I'll tear one down just to find one. I won't be putting an aftermarket band in there. So you can go ahead and pull this planetary off there, Teresa. Just slide it apart. There you go. Kind of slide that down out of the way. There's going to be a bearing down in there. And the lube washer. Well. And gloves are terrible, huh? You got this race here that sits on top of there. Now you always want to, when you rebuild these, you always want to look for the bearings that have more rollers in them, because GM did put cheap bearings in here that about every other third bearing is missing, roller is missing. So I always like to hunt them down and find one that has all the rollers in there. You want to always check both sides of your races, make sure there's no pitting. Okay. Okay. Of course, you have a brass washer right here. Now, there is an adjustment. People don't really talk about this washer right here. When they set their in clearance from your center support all the way down to the bottom of the case, this has no bearing on this washer right here. So if you get a washer kit, you're going to get washers in it that are adjustable to different thicknesses. And I've noticed that the brass washer is almost the thinnest one. So if you just throw it in there, there's going to be a lot of this drum's going to have some wobbling capability. Okay, so we like to set this clearance up totally different than your clearance from the bottom of the center support to the bottom of the case. So you can set that up, get it out, take it back apart, stand it all up, assemble it back, and then you can set this one here. So you always want to check that. You just don't want to throw a brass one in there and think it's good. Of course, we have our sun gear right here. I'm going to look for any pitting or anything like that. If you notice, Miss Teresa, that's got a flat edge right there. If you flip it over, it's got a beveled. You always want to slide that shaft onto the flat side, not the bevel. Always turn it around. That end. There you go. You always want to butt it up against the flat side. You never want to flip it over and put the shaft in on the bevel side. You never want to go onto that side because it'll try to set down in there farther. Okay?
Good to know.
Yep.
Okay.
We have a lube washer. A lot of these people leave that out. 4L80Es leave them out, stuff like that. But I like to put them in. It keeps the planetary a lot more full of oil, and instead of just slinging them dry. So a lot of times you'll find little pieces of this in the pan where they chip off and stuff like that. But if you can find one that's good, or if yours is good, please put it back in. It will keep the planetary full of oil a lot longer instead of just slinging it all dry. Okay. Let's look at that washer you have right there, Teresa, that's down in there. What does that washer look like? Flip it over. That washer there looks like it's been through some work. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they got going on there, but you want to look here and see, because that's where that washer runs. These pins are bad about moving out and touching the washer and start shaving metal off the washer. So we always check that, and then we will flip it over, Teresa, and then we will TIG weld this pin right here. We'll take and pin TIG weld them where they can't move. Those three. The only ones that move are the ones on the roller, on the gear itself. So.
Well, I didn't want that to happen.
That's okay. You can just slide it over there. We'll be replacing that anyway. So the main thing is check those pins. See if they have walked out towards this washer. If they have, you can take and tap them back down a little bit and then flip it over and TIG weld it where that pin does not move. These pins here don't move. We never see it really. It's the ones mainly on the roller. Okay. Of course, that washer don't look very healthy. It's going to need some new brush washers in it.
No.
If you want to, now this is what we call our intermediate shaft. We will be replacing that too with a 4340, a Vasco, or a 300M. Whatever I can get from Transmission Specialties is what I'll be putting back in there, okay? If you want to stand that up on its end right here, Teresa.
This one?
Uh-huh. Okay, just like that. Okay, you can take that off there. Now that washer there and that washer there is what you're going to be getting rid of. What you'll do, if you're going to rollerize the back part of your transmission, what I like to do is put these two together, mic them, and then I'll go get my new pump, 350 pump roller bearing, and some shims, and I'll go about 4/1000ths over, and that's where I'll start out setting my clearances. I just don't put the bearing down in there only and put it together because I already know by experience it's going to be way too loose. So I'll mic those two first, go get my 350 pump bearing, and then I'll add about a whatever over that, like 4/1000ths over what those are there, put it back together, and then I'll start checking my clearance. That's a pretty tough snap ring right there, Miss Teresa.
Do I do the
You can do it. Mm-hmm. Do it just like that. You got to really get in there and get after it. It's a tough one.
As long as I don't stab myself.
Yes.
I'll be good. If I can.
Yeah, that's a tough snap ring right there. Some of them are a normal snap ring, some are beveled, and it makes it even harder. You might try that black screwdriver over there, Teresa, so that gives you a little bit more leverage. See if you can get it out with that one. Yeah, like I said, they're really tough. That's a pretty stout snap ring to get out of there.
Yeah, I don't think I
Okay,
can.
well that's good, Teresa. We can take that apart later. That's not something that I'm worried about, going to have to order or anything like that. But when you get it apart, you want to make sure you still, because there's bearings down in here that look just like this that GM got cheap on and missed every other roller. So you want to find you a bearing that it's got all the rollers in it down in your lower planetary assembly too. Change your bushings, check your gears, make sure they don't wobble or any type of pitting. We'll be upgrading this to a lot stronger shaft. So we got really lucky on this transmission, Miss Teresa, because
I'll try to work on trying to get that out. I'll learn how.
Yeah, she'll get that out. But we saved a case. We got a nice 8-bolt case. We actually got a pump stator that's in really good shape. We lucked out and got us a 36 element drum. You know, that's a big plus. Saved us $400 there. So we don't have to kill a nice 400 case that's 8-bolt. We can just go ahead and machine this bell housing off here and get us a altar bell coming for our daughter, and she's going to really be excited. So pretty cool, huh, Teresa? What'd you think of that?
It's been a long time.
It's been definitely a long time since you've done it. Well, guys, hopefully I can get to feeling better here in, I guess, another 5 weeks or something. I really don't know how long it's going to take me. I've been staying on therapy big time. Miss Teresa's been cracking the whip on me. I'm telling you, it's been terrible. But let me tell you.
It has been terrible because you don't listen.
I don't listen. But she has been cooking some fabulous meals, getting my health back up because I lost almost 15 pounds of weight since this happened. And I definitely want to thank Miss Teresa for taking care of me.
Look, it's your thumb instead of mine, so we'll swap. So, if you like this video, please like it, subscribe, and is that
Ring the notification bell.
And ring the notification bell. Hey, we appreciate you guys. I had fun doing it. I hope y'all enjoy it too. Thanks.
Have a great day. Teresa, if you want to take your thumb and push that in really hard, you'll see you can push that spring in.
No, I
No?
can't.
Let me, now there's a pin that's going to fall out the bottom right here when you push that in.
Okay.
Just pump it in there, pump it in there. Can you push it?
Yeah, but there. Oh, my glove is caught.
Uh-oh. Okay, let me see if the spring, let me see if I can do it. I'm sorry, what am I doing here? Oh, I'm messed up. I'm thinking of something else. I'm sorry. You'd have to pull the snap ring out of there. I don't know what I was thinking on that part of it.
You're making me work extra
I'm making you
hard
work
today,
extra
aren't
hard.
ya?
But anyway, let's set that to the side. I don't know what I was thinking on that part.